Yeah, let's start with my previous session. So I will copy this and I will copy this and paste this here. Oh my God, I forgot. How ChatGPT is behaving such a weird way. Sometime it is giving some code, sometime it is giving some code. What man, what you are doing? Now if I do any changes, type error. Okay, first I will remove this. Otherwise we will get continuously error. And also I will comment this TS also. Now here if I will write, see whenever we writes anything in child component, as we change do the changes, here it is displaying. Now if I write here ANANYA, see as I write here, it is showing here change. Oh, I think this John is by default. That is the reason. So now see the code actually. Now see here we gave one input box and here we write this change command in our parent component. Okay, here change this parent name is equal to this dot parent. ओके यहाँ पे मतलब ये दिया हुआ है कि अगर जैसे पेरेंट एक नाम दे के रखा हुआ है, अगर हम लोग इसको ब्लैंक कर दें तो भी चलेगा। ये इसको हम लोग अगर हटा दें तो भी चलेगा ये, आई थिंक। लेकिन फिर चेंज का कोई मतलब नहीं रह जाएगा। तो बेसिकली उसमें है कि अगर उसमें कोई चेंजेस करे तो यहाँ पे चेंज में चेंज कर दो। और जैसे यहाँ पे मैंने एक यहाँ पे मैंने जो है HTML फाइल में जो चाइल्ड कंपोनेंट है उसको यहाँ पे मैंने उसका सेलेक्टर से मैंने इसे कॉल किया है। और जैसे ही यहाँ पे ये वैल्यू चेंज होती है, यहाँ पे मैं इनपुट प्रॉपर्टी के थ्रू उस नेम को कॉल करूंगी और ये जो लाइफ साइकिल हुक है उसे कॉल करूंगी कि अगर उसमें कोई भी चेंज हुआ है, अगर जो भी चेंज हो रहा है तुरंत उसका वैल्यू हमें दे दे। ओके, सो यही है हमारा लाइफ साइकिल हुक, एनजी ऑन चेंजेस। ओके, कि अगर चाइल्ड में कोई भी चेंज हो तो तुरंत इसको हम लोग नॉर्मली ऐसे यहाँ पे हम लोग लिख लेते हैं console.log I am called। ओके, यहाँ पे ऐसे लिख लेते हैं। नाउ the next thing is that we will discuss about ngOnInit। Now when we call this ngOnInit, so first of all, you know this thing ngOnChange call after ngOn changes only, and this call only once when our application load. Like when component initialize, it will load only once, and this ngOn changes we will use while fetching data, setting up some initial thing. So like if some value we want to load when our application load, and we want this thing only load once in our application, so we write our code inside ng on in it only. Okay, so like see here, I just simply I will write here. Okay, and for to use ng on in it, we have to implement this function here. This in the component we have to implement this. Now here in our ts file, I will write this code ng. Okay, here we have not implemented. There we have implemented, so there we will use. Here nowhere it is called. Yeah, here it is called. So here ng on init called after constructor called. This is search component. And here is my search component constructor. Constructor of search component. Now see in our application which got called first. What happened again? We have done something wrong. I have do the changes. No provider for search component. But I have not imported the search component anywhere. Then why? Okay, here it came again. Now see. Now this is my app component constructor got called. Then my search component constructor got called. Then my ng on changes got called. Then here I am called. What is this? I am called. This is inside ng on changes only. And after this, these both are ng on changes. These are constructor and these are ng on init in the search component. So this is ng on init is nothing but a search, but a lifecycle hook, and this lifecycle hook is called only once in our application. Okay. Now the third topic is ng do check. So basically ng do check called very frequently on every change detection in our cycle, like any custom change detection. When Angular default change detection does not pick up any changes, like in ng on changes be that function only called when only input property change, but ng do check got called on every change detection. And we do not use this mostly because of this heavy work here, and it will affect on our program. So I will not do any coding regarding this, but just remember ng do check got called only when uh, uh, on every change detection. See here in this life cycle hook, yeah. Ng do check detect and act upon changes that Angular can't and don't detect on its own. Like it will detect and call during every change detection and run up immediately after ng on change and ng on init. But we generally do not use ng do check because this got our app heavily run, so it will be hurt our application performance. So better alternative is to use immutable pattern or push strategy or observable to avoid do check. Now the third thing is the third thing is that fourth thing is that ng after content init and ng after content checked. So as in the definition it says response after Angular project external content into the view component and called once after first do check. So basically this one is the context of is that content projection, the content passed from the parent by ng content. This will call only that time only. And ng after content init run after the projects after projected content is initialized. As an ng after content check run after every change detection that check the projected content. Same as like ng on changes and ng do check. There we check for at the rate input at the rate in any input property change ng on changes work. But here when we do content projection by ng content method, then only this ng content init will got called. Okay, and this ng after content checked, it will respond of every change detection. See here what is written. Respond after Angular check that content projected into the component and called after the ng after content init. And every sequence ng do check. Content only a content only hook. These things we use very less. Just for knowledge purpose, I am saying you only mostly 3 or 4 we use. 4 we use, 4 we don't use. We use but very less we use. Now this ng after view init and ng after view checked. Here the component template plus child component and directive. Here what is mentioned? See, respond after Angular initialize the component view and child view. Okay. And it run once after the component view and its child view are initialized. Okay. And it run after and this ng after view checked run after each of the component view. Okay. And when we use this, when we will use at the rate view child, at the rate view children to access child component or DOM element or do any DOM dependent work, then we will use this. Before this, view child might be undefined, but after this, it will uh, give some value. Okay. Now this ng on destroy is important in the lifecycle hook. Like whenever like it just it is used just before Angular destroy the component, and it is used to clean up our component. How do we do? By doing unsubscribe observable, clean interval, remove event listener, cancel timer, deattach global listener. And why do we use? We use to avoid memory leak, unexpected behavior. So this is for interview. Now for the explanation purpose, like whenever we call any API, okay, in that time we will use observable. Observable will emit that value. That value we when in an component with that value we will subscribe that value. So when we subscribe that value, we will get continuously that value inside our application. But when our application got and if we did not, then also that data will continuously come, then this will cause some memory leak happen. So for that reason, when we subscribe our observable, we will store it in some value, and while our destroying our application, we will we will call that value and we will destroy that. See, I will show you through one just simple example. Just I will show you not to perform any operation. See here, I perform this operation here. I will uncomment this. I will uncomment also this also and this all also. Now see, अरे यार, can't read properties of undefined origin. Okay, don't, no issue. So see here. Here in TS file, as I said, whenever our application run, it will help to fetch data. So see here in ngOnInit, we call this method, this search, and in this search method, we are calling this API. For large project, we will use service file. In the service file, we call that. Here only we will subscribe, but so since I am creating a small project, so directly here I am calling this till here it written observable here, and here it store that by subscribing it is getting that data. Now if we store this inside this, like see search, let subs at the rate 0. Now when we end this application, we call this ngOnDestroy, and to use this we have to ngOnDestroy, not like that. So here we have to implement ngOnDestroy also. Where is my ngOnInit? On destroy. Is there any spelling mistake? No. I think here we have to. No. Where? Okay, okay. Sorry, my mistake. This is a, I forgot this is a concern. Now I will, I will unsubscribe this. Now I will use that subs. I have created this one only, na? Yeah. Now I will unsubscribe. Like that we write the code, but why here it is showing does not. Yeah, this dot. So see, now here we destroy that. Like whatever observable we called in this ng on search method, here we are destroying this. Now see here in our application for ng on destroy, how do I show you? But this is the way we destroy our we destroy to avoid memory leakage. So that's all for this video. I hope you like this video. If you like this video, please tell. I will make interview questions related to that topic. So thank you so much for watching. See you soon. Bye bye.